Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today I'm going to show you the best 4.5 million defenders for the next season of Fantasy Premier League. Now, if you enjoy my content, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, so as I said before, today I'm going to show you some of the best 4.5 million defenders to pick for our FPL teams. Now, in the first part of the video, we're going to discuss a little bit about these players, and in the second part, I'm going to show you some of the best rotations to see which teams have the best fixtures for the start of the season. Now, let's start with the most boring defender from this list, Ezri Konsa from Aston Villa. What I didn't mention earlier is that on this list, you're going to see the ownership of the players. These stats are from the last season. Also, you're going to see the defensive contributions per 90 minutes from last season, the same for all these players, and also the fixture difficulty rating. Now, why would anyone go with Ezri Konsa in their teams? Maybe you're asking. The answer is pretty simple. He's really cheap. He's 4.5 millions. He plays for Aston Villa, and as you can see from the screen, the fixtures are the best for Aston Villa. They are a decent defensive side, and you know that he's nailed. He's going to play 90 minutes every game. As I said before, it is a little bit boring. He's not attacking. He's not going to be amazing for defensive contributions, but that's the thing, you know that he's nailed and the fixtures are great for Aston Villa. Now, obviously, if someone like Digne or Maatsen would be more nailed than Konsa, maybe we can have a look at them also. But at the moment, from Aston Villa, Ezri Konsa is the only defender that I would like to have in my team. Now, he is a really safe pick, so that's what I really like about him. But let's move to the other ones. Let's move to Van de Ven from Spurs. I know Spurs were horrible defensive-wise last season, so I really understand. If you think that Spurs are going to be the same, then just don't go with any Spurs defender for your team this year. But from my point of view, I think that Spurs are going to be a better side defensive-wise and also attacking-wise. Obviously, they just signed Palhinha from Bayern. We know that he's a really great player, defensive midfielder. I just think that he's going to make that defense a little bit better, and obviously the style of play is going to change a little bit with Thomas Frank, and I expect Spurs to improve a lot this season. Now, Van de Ven, again, like with Konsa, there are other defenders from Tottenham. You could go for someone like Udogi maybe, but at the moment he has some injury doubts about him, so that's why I think that the only 4.5 million from them is Van de Ven. And he's also going to be decent probably for defensive contributions. Now, as you can see from the screen, 5.8 per 90 minutes, it's not amazing or something like that, and don't expect all those defenders to get defensive contributions every game, because that's just not going to happen. But for a team like Spurs, who, as I said before, they changed their manager, they are going to change their style of play a little bit, we could see some changes. So all the defenders who scored a lot of defensive contributions last season could change this season depending on how their teams is going to play and also how they are going to approach each game. So it's not going to be that simple to predict which players are going to have a lot of defensive contributions based on last season. But again, Van de Ven, the fixtures are decent. As you can see, for Spurs, they rank 6 on this chart. We know that they were bad defensive-wise last season, but if they're going to improve, I think that Van de Ven could be a decent option regarding defensive contributions, regarding clean sheets, and also we know that he has a little bit of attacking threat. Now, we know that he missed a lot of games last season due to injury. We need to see how Spurs are going to play when they have their strongest 11, obviously. So I think that they are going to improve this season, and Van de Ven for sure is a consideration for my team. Now, what I didn't mention maybe before, there are other 4.5 million defenders obviously in the game, but at the moment for me, these from these 8 I'm going to choose for my game week 1 squad at the moment. Now, obviously a lot of defenders maybe are going to emerge closer we get to the deadline, but at the moment from this list I think that I'm going to pick 2 or maybe 3 defenders. Now, the third one is Richard from Crystal Palace. I think that obviously here again you have someone like Guehi, who's also the same price, 4.5 millions, but he's not as good as Richard for defensive contributions, and also we have a question mark on Guehi. We don't know if he's going to stay or not at Crystal Palace, but as you can see, he's a big differential at the moment, 0.6%. The best defenses on this list are Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Fulham, as you can see, and the bad one, at least from last season, were Spurs, West Ham, and let's say Wolverhampton, but probably they are going to improve a little bit, these teams, this season. Although the fixtures at the start of the season are not amazing from Crystal Palace, they are going to play against Chelsea in game week 1. So that's why a lot of people, I think, that are overlooking a little bit their players like Munoz, Richard, Lacroix, could be amazing at some point. Now I understand why a lot of people are avoiding them at the moment, but we should not forget that Crystal Palace are a decent team and a decent defense. Now what I like about Richard is that he has 8.2 defensive contributions per 90 last season, and also he has a little bit of attacking threat, so he could be a decent option if you can find another defender to rotate maybe them when they are going to have the best fixtures. And it doesn't really matter the fixtures at the moment. With this new system, a lot of these players are going to make a lot of defensive contributions in the tougher game. Now obviously that's not a given or something like that, but usually a player has more interceptions, more tackles playing against tougher oppositions, right? So again, we need to see how this new system is going to impact our FPL game. If we move to the next defender, here we have one of my favorites, 4.5 million defenders at the moment, at least, the Kuiper from Brighton. As you can see, his ownership is 9%, and I just want to mention that his expected goal involvements, as you can see from last season, 0.81 is from the Belgian league. So we need to see if that's going to translate into the Premier League. Probably not. There's definitely going to be a little bit of a risk with the Kuiper because we don't know if he's going to play 90 minutes every game. At the moment, he's looking like his first choice. Estupinian just left. He just played a lot of preseason games as a left back. Now again, we don't know if he's going to play 90 minutes every game week. We don't know how attacking is he going to be in the Premier League, so I would try to put our expectations a little bit lower, but he could be a nice option. Now with defensive contributions, just don't expect any from him because he's just an attacking defender. He's not on this list for his attacking contributions. The fixtures for Brighton are a little bit mixed, as you can see from the list. Now I think that he has the potential to be amazing, but if you don't want to go with any risk, if you want to go safe, probably he's not the player you want in your team. Maybe a lot of people have their nightmares with Barco last season. Personally, I didn't have Barco last season, but we know what happened with him. A lot of people bought him because he was a really attacking defender from Brighton playing left back, and then he transferred out to another team in the Spanish league, I think. Now obviously the Kuiper is not going to be transferred out or something like that. He's going to play for Brighton. We need to see how attacking is he going to be, but if you don't want to take any risk in the start of the season, just avoid him. But I think that he could be a nice option. If we move to Aaron Wan-Bissaka from West Ham, again another team who were horrible last season defensive wise, I expect them to be a little bit better. Now we need to tempt our expectations a little bit. It's still West Ham. They were one of the worst teams last season in the Premier League. We need to see how they are going to do in the transfer market. They just bought a forward. Paqueta maybe is going to be again a player for them, is going to play, I mean. Now his ownership is huge at the moment, 32%, for good reasons. At West Ham you have other options also. If you want to, at the same price, 4.5 millions, you can have someone like Diouf, who maybe is going to be a little bit more attacking than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and also you have someone like Kilmer, who's going to be better for defensive contributions. But if you look at this chart, 7.04 defensive contributions per 90 last season. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a little bit of an attacking defender who's also making a lot of defensive contributions, so that's why I think that he's really popular, and obviously he's going to play against Sunderland in game week 1, and the fixtures are decent in the start of the season. Now again, paired with another 4.5 million defenders, could be a really nice option in your team. So not a lot to say about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I really like him as a team, and if I would pick probably a West Ham player at the moment in my team, it would be him. If we move forward, here we have some players who the fixtures maybe are not amazing in the start of the season, but they are really good at defensive contributions. As you can see, Senesi, Agbadou and Andersen. Let's start with Senesi. Now obviously, as you may know, Bournemouth, they lost their goalkeeper, they lost Kerkez, they lost Huijsen, and it's looking like they're going to lose also Zabarni. So probably Senesi is going to be nailed for this season, and we know that he's a really attacking defender, a really attacking center half, and he's also really good for defensive contributions. Now, as I said before, if you can find another pairing 4.5 million defender to pair with Senesi, obviously maybe you don't want to play him for the first 5 or 6 game weeks of the season. You don't want to play him in all the games, but he could be a nice differential. These players, as you can see, the last three are really low ownership: 0.7, 0.3 and 0.8. If we talk a little bit about Agbadu, again, he's going to be nailed probably. He's not really an attacking defender, but he's a monster coming to defensive contributions. As you can see, almost 9 per 90 minutes last season. So if he's going to be the same this season, he's going to make a lot of defensive contribution points. Now the fixtures are not amazing for Wolverhampton starting the season. They are going to play against Manchester City, I think, in game week 1, so not great, but one to have an eye on. And also Anderson from Fulham. If you want to have a player from Fulham, probably he's the one. The fixtures are not amazing, are mixed again, but Fulham were a really good defense last season. Maybe they were a little bit overlooked. Now if I was to make a top 3 or maybe a top 5 of these defenders in order of my preferences, let's try to disregard the fixtures, but it would be something like Van de Ven, Richards, De Kuiper, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Senesi, Agbadu, something like that in that order at the moment. But now let's see the best rotations for these teams. Okay, now as I said before, here we're going to take a look at some of the best rotations for these teams. And what I think that you should do at the moment is to try to pick your defense. Try to pick those 6 million defenders you want to have, 1, 2 or maybe neither. Pick those more expensive defenders you are sure you're going to have in your FPL team, and then if you want to have some 4.5 million defenders, probably you're going to be forced to have some, maybe 2, maybe 3. Just try to have a look at the fixtures and which pairing of defenders are going to have the best start of the season, because if you're going to do that, you're going to have some really nice fixtures like you see on the screen. If we talk a little bit about Spurs and Aston Villa, so you're going to have Van de Ven, or it doesn't really matter, you're going to have Pedro Porro and Maatsen from Aston Villa. In that case, you can have the best fixtures like that from game week 1 to game week 5. Burnley, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland. So again, pretty decent. If you want to have someone like Agbadu alongside Van de Ven, you're going to have Burnley, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Leeds. Now the first ones I think that are the best rotations. What I really like is Crystal Palace and West Ham, as you can see. So someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka with someone like Lacroix, someone like Richard are going to play against Sunderland 2 times. So that's really nice in game week 1 and game week 4. They're going to play also against Nottingham Forest in game week 2 and 3. So maybe if you don't like that, if you think that Nottingham Forest are going to be great attacking wise, then maybe you should not go with this rotation. And also they are going to play against each other in game week 5. So you need to decide which defender you want to play. Probably someone from Crystal Palace. If we take a look at Crystal Palace and Spurs, so Richards, Van de Ven, Burnley, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Sunderland, West Ham. Now from this list we have some teams who maybe I would not be so sure they are going to keep a clean sheet. Teams like Nottingham Forest away, Manchester United, Bournemouth could be a great team attacking wise. Someone like Crystal Palace, someone like Fulham, these teams could score goals. We know that. Maybe not Brentford because they are going to lose probably Wissa and Mbeumo. So again, but if we move to another rotation, Brighton and Aston Villa is looking decent. So someone like De Kuiper with someone like Digne, Konsa are going to play against Fulham, Everton, Palace, Everton again and Sunderland. So that's decent. And also here we have also Brentford and Fulham. If you want to go for someone like Anderson, Nottingham Forest away, Man United, Sunderland, Leeds, Brentford. So I don't really like this rotation because they're going to play against Forest away and Man United in game week 2. But after that, Sunderland and Leeds and Brentford at home, to be honest with you, are pretty nice fixtures. But again, hopefully that helped you a little bit. Thank you so much for watching this video this long. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you enjoy my content, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye. Bag pura lor, când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic de va. Apoi